Welcome to Previously on X-Men, the podcast that looks at X-Men comics, movies, shows, characters, and more. I'm Hilary.
I'm Nick.
And today we are looking at 2 episodes of the animated series, and you may notice that usually Eric is here for these.
He is.
This time Nick has stepped in.
Here I am.
He's jumped on the grenade of these episodes.
Thank you so much for inviting me to do the worst episodes.
He was very relieved when I said that he didn't have to do these. Anyway,
Eric, yeah.
So we're doing Family Ties and Bloodlines.
Yeah.
These are 2 episodes. They're thematically linked.
They are.
In there, I don't know if they were in a mood.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of like, as I'm watching these 2 episodes, I'm like, far be it for me to like champion network meddling, but like
maybe split them up a little.
Yeah, but this is other episodes you and Eric have covered in the latter day stuff here. It's like, well, these are the same episodes twice, So I don't know if that was the intention, that they were like, let's do little twin packs of episodes.
Well, that's sort of how, it seems like they must have been just running with a theme.
But there's also no connection between the 2.
True.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
They're not like, I was just dealing with an odd sibling.
Family Ties aired May 4th, 1996, and Bloodlines aired August 28, 1996.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like the network was like, let's pull these episodes apart.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just, it's confusing. But anyway.
Well,
yes.
Good for them in this particular instance.
I guess.
So first we'll talk about Family Ties.
Okay.
All right. This one was directed by Larry Houston and Fred Miller and written by Marley Clark. This is Marley's only X-Men episode. Marley, male or female? I don't know.
We're not sure.
Also wrote for the new adventures of Winnie the Pooh and the sitcom What's Happening Now?
That's some range.
Do you know?
That's range.
Do you know What's Happening Now?
I know what's happening.
Like something you would
it's like
know.
A classic 70s, maybe even 80s sitcom.
Do you think Now is like a sequel?
It was like a sequel series that ran in like syndication later on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, good for Marley Clark.
I guess. Yeah.
Okay,
got one X-Men episode in.
For cast, this time we've got Scarlet Witch, Quicksilver, and Magneto popping in. Mm-hmm. Susan Roman is Scarlet Witch. She's also Callisto.
She's a better Callisto than a Scarlet Witch.
She is.
It's an odd voice for Scarlet Witch.
Yeah. I think that they leaned into the melodrama with the voice directing, and it didn't pay off.
Both Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver felt like 58 years old.
Yeah, well, a lot of that, I think, was Scarlet Witch's hair.
That's true. That is true.
Big hair.
Yeah.
Peter Haddad is Quicksilver. He also voiced Uncle Arthur in Babar.
Babar, wow.
Remember Babar?
I do.
I don't think I actually ever saw Babar.
It's a callback.
I saw commercials.
Do you remember when Arby's was exclusively Babar themed?
Boy, that sounds like a little bit of an unlocked childhood memory, but I can't quite get there.
It wasn't like, oh, they have Babar toys. It was like, that's just their mascot, like Ronald McDonald from McDonald's.
Yeah,
it's like Babar
that does
all the
sound
time.
familiar. What a weird thing to do.
I don't know.
Okay, anyway. I thought Quicksilver sounded like Cyclops. I wondered if it was the same guy.
Yeah.
Anywho, George Murner was Magneto, taking over from David Hemblum, who we love.
It's a good Magneto voice normally.
Yes, we like Magneto. But yeah, George Murner, I'm not as big a fan. I mean, it was fine. It wasn't like... I didn't hate it, but there wasn't... I got about halfway through the episode and was like, I haven't loved any of these lines. And usually he has some lines that I think are great.
They're calling on Magneto to do different things here, so it doesn't stand out as quickly as it might have otherwise. But once he gets into it, it's like, yeah, this is wrong.
Yeah, didn't work. Anywho, I wonder why they switched...
I don't know, because I know Hemblum is back for later episodes and the finale and everything, so maybe he was just unavailable. I don't know. Yeah.
This George Murner dude also worked on Rupert. What's Rupert?
Is that a fox? It's some other animal thing.
Rupert.
Rupert.
And Tales of the Crypt Keeper. I don't know if he was the Crypt Keeper or if he was just some other related thing, but that's the cast for Family Ties.
Okay.
So... let's get into the plot of this episode.
I guess, sure. Okay.
For whatever reason, they decided to do a deep dive into the backstory of Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver for this episode of the X-Men.
Yeah, and I know we had Scarlet Witch in the Repo Man episode, but like... I don't think anybody was clamoring for but give us an origin story. Yeah.
I mean, what it feels like to me is that, first of all, they're scrambling to find stories. And second of all, it just felt very much like, this is an interesting thing happening in the comics. Let's just do it. Rather than seeking something that would particularly serve the show.
Yeah.
It feels kind of like hey, let's do this.
Yeah. Well, Steve Englehart has a really good Vision and Scarlet Witch miniseries that deals with all of this, like figuring this out and brings Bova into it and everything.
They really go for it.
They do. But the Englehart one is great. I mean, Steve Englehart. Go back and listen to the Steve Englehart episode, everybody. It was great. While you're at it, you can listen to the Scarlet Witch Spotlight you and Eric did forever ago.
Yeah.
But the Englehart story is really good, and this just didn't land.
I've had a few times, particularly recently, where I have complained about episodes feeling like they're just really rushed. Mm-hmm. And this really felt like that.
It did.
Like, it just felt like, and then this, and then this, and then this, and then this. Like, they just had a list of what happened in the past to Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, and they were like, let's just hit all the beats.
Yeah, I mean, and they hardly have room for the X-Men either. I mean, we see Wolverine and we see Beast for like a second.
Beast is there, and Xavier. And that's like it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so let's do the plot.
Let's do it. Let's talk about it.
Okay. When the intro music ends, we get Quicksilver at an old 80s computer, and he is apparently part of X Factor right now.
I guess. That was just a one-line thing.
This is just mid X Factor Quicksilver.
Okay.
He's getting a call from Scarlet Witch. She calls and says, "It's your sister!"
Just in case the audience didn't know.
Just to make sure we have the connection. So apparently their father has been in the hospital, and they called and were like, he's unstable or something. You better come. And so they're like, okay, I'll come. Mm-hmm. So
he's talking to Forge. He is talking to Forge in the beginning. So
who's talking to Forge?
Quicksilver is talking to Forge. Did
I look away? I didn't see him talk to Forge.
That's who he's talking to when Scarlet Witch
she
jumps
cuts in.
Yeah.
I thought he was just like boop boop.
No. He was mid conversation with Forge. Poor Forge.
How's Forge doing?
He seemed fine. He seemed fine. Was
he like being shot at or anything?
No. He was just chatting.
Okay, so they decide they have to go see their father. We go with them. We see their father, just a mild-mannered, bearded gentleman.
Django Maximoff.
In a bed, in a hospital bed.
Mm-hmm. Not doing great.
They say that he says then that he called them. That's not the story that we've heard so far, but he called them because he has to tell them a secret.
Yeah, does he have to tell them?
He has to tell them.
That is a real fork in the road for these two.
A secret. Because he has never told them, I guess, that they're adopted.
Yeah.
And this story. I knew the story. I know the story, but just like, so this old man in the bed is just like, so I've been keeping this secret from you, and I'm finally going to tell you. And they're like, what? What are you talking about? And he's like, okay, so when I was younger, my wife and I were visited by a cow woman.
Yeah, sure.
Carrying twins.
Yeah.
And she just left them with us. And then we raised you.
I would not swear that I've seen this episode before, but I was surprised to see Bova. I didn't know they were going to go...
They went full Bova.
Full Bova. Make that a trend.
They went full Bova. So Bova, they're in the flashback, she like comes up, she gives the twins over.
Yeah.
So then the father, back in present day, is like, yep, so that's my secret, and I'm dying now, so I guess it's fine for me to tell you. And they're like, so what now? He tells them that Bova was from Wundagore.
Yes.
Which is a mountain that's like got all kinds of like mystical folklore-ness about it.
Stuff's going on.
And he's like, so what you should probably do is go there, find this cow woman, and then she'll tell you who your parents are.
I just don't know why this late in the game he's doing this to these poor 60-year-old people.
Maybe he's losing it. Maybe he's just...
Maybe.
I feel like it's the kind of thing, like he's dying and he's like been holding this secret. Okay. And like, I feel like it could maybe haunt you a little bit. Because like, you know that when you die, that's it.
Yeah, I just think it's a weird move, but okay.
Well, the weirdness continues. Okay, so they've decided that they're going to go find Bova. Cut to Xavier by a lovely fireplace with a painting of
Liberace?
I don't even.
It was a man in like a giant cape and like a pompadour. It really, I was like, is that a Velvet Elvis?
But it was like out of focus or something, so you couldn't tell what it was. Yeah. But it was like a place of honor above this enormous fireplace.
Definitely.
Anyway, he's reading a book in the corner, not looking at the fireplace.
Completely furnitureless room.
And then Magneto sneaks up behind him.
Yeah.
And Xavier notices because he's psychic.
He's Charles Xavier.
And Magneto's like, "Oh, good job. You noticed I was in the room with you." And Xavier's like, "Yep, Still
I feel
a
that I
psychic.
could have sensed Magneto's
Right?
presence, but
Anyway, so he's like, what are you doing here? And Magneto's like, I got what is it, a letter or something?
Something.
This is another thing that's like the next episode. He got a letter.
Yeah, you're right.
That's like, your wife isn't dead.
Yeah.
Come find her or something.
Yeah.
This is exactly like the next episode.
I know. It's really bizarre.
As I'm going through
bizarre.
this.
I know.
Anyway, so he comes to Xavier because he's like, my wife is dead, but if there's a possibility she's alive, I've got to figure it out. So I want you to just kind of like put some feelers out and see if there's any mutant presence around. Meanwhile, he's just going to follow up on this situation.
Right.
So there's actually not really any reason to involve Xavier, except that now, storyline-wise, he knows.
Xavier's in. Why doesn't Xavier look for the wife?
I mean,
Just
I
do
guess
it.
maybe he does and we don't see it. But like basically all that
so.
happens is that Magneto, who, by the way, incapacitated Wolverine.
Yes. Oh my god.
He shows Xavier a security video of Wolverine who's like actively being tortured by like electricity.
Yes.
In the other room. And Xavier's just like, oh, you incapacitated my dude. And he just turns off the TV.
He just flips the TV off.
Nothing.
Cold as ice.
Oh, anyway.
Very comic accurate.
So-
Cold Charles Xavier. Very comic accurate.
It was very funny. So Magneto goes and he's going to go figure it out. And he's like, no matter what, don't get involved.
Do not. I do not want you
I am
involved.
currently involving you.
I came here to involve you.
If you involve me,
Don't for 1 second.
I will be upset.
Do not get involved.
Wolverine bursts in. I don't like that guy. Xavier's like, okay, let's just plant. You just follow Magneto and just see what's going on. Because like maybe it's a trap.
I know because like the story dictates, but like why?
Well, I think that like the idea is that Magneto coming and asking him for this for like a personal thing kind of like got into his head about like, he's my friend, I don't want him to die, and they both think it's weird that this letter came, and they think that it's probably a trap.
It is weird.
And so I think he just wants to kind of keep an eye on him.
Yeah. Remember when they were just palling around the Savage Land for like 2 seasons?
Like besties.
Yeah, just hanging out, wearing
Good times.
onesies.
Good times. So Wolverine follows him. Then we get back to Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch. They have had no trouble finding Thundergore.
Right.
They arrive at this mountain. There's a weird, like, kind of outposty situation, like a futuristic vibe up on the mountain. And then this, like, pink thing floats down. And who is it?
It's the High Evolutionary.
It's the High Evolutionary.
Created by one and only Jack Kirby. I saw that and I was like, it's the High Evolutionary. And then I was right and I felt proud.
Yeah. Well, you're doing a deep dive into Jack Kirby right now.
That's true. That is true. Thanks to Eric. He got me the whole Jack Kirby Fourth World Omnibus, and I'm diving fully into it.
Are you like 700 pages in, and you're like halfway through?
I don't even think I even am halfway through, but it's it was a great present.
Okay, so High Evolutionary apparently knows about these twins, but he doesn't know them as adults, and so they're like, "Hi, who are you?" And he's like, "How do I know that you're the twins?"
Yeah, he jumps right to it.
And they're like, don't, who?
Yeah,
what?
We've made no claims. He takes them up to his lair and he's like, all right, we're going to test you. And they see all his weird, like, animal hybrid people. And we prove that they are, in fact, who they say they are.
And then you're like, oh, right, High Evolutionary.
Yeah.
I saw those and I was like, okay, I remember. I know who this dude is.
Yeah.
He takes them in and he sort of, like, acts like the good guy.
High Evolutionary is a complex character because, like, he makes the new men. He makes these, like, hybrid creatures. He's not, strictly speaking, a bad guy, but like what he wants to do often puts him in an adversarial role, I guess.
Well,
so
I think he's
nuanced.
just like a regular old megalomaniac.
Sure.
Like, I think the
Mad
evilness,
scientist, baby.
Yeah, I think the evilness is that he thinks that he can control all of it.
Yeah.
Like he's creating these animals and then like ruling over them like a god. You know what I mean? It's just a lot. Anywho, he's acting like, oh, yes, Bova. She's right over here.
Yeah.
Everything is fine and normal.
Of course.
So they go in, they see Bova. What? She's a cow lady. We're not going to address it.
Fully
cow.
cow.
She's a full cow lady. And so they talk to her, and she tells them this sob story. That like, yes, I knew your mother, but she was she was treated poorly by some man. And I guess she doesn't at this point say that he was their father.
Although I felt like it was very clear that Magneto was
pretty clear.
I was confused later on.
That she was talking about whoever was going to be their father.
Understood.
But apparently not clear to everyone.
To Quicksilver and
so they immediately get furious. And they're like, who is this guy that led to our mother's downfall? And we're going to find him and we're going to kill him. So they're set on their path. So they decide they're going to go, and High Evolutionary, the kind man that he is, will send along with them some of his animal people.
Oh, the new men.
Which is the new men that you apparently know of for some reason. At the same time, we see that this letter that Magneto got was like, come to this cemetery and meet me. I'm Magda. Meet me by my headstone.
By the grave, yeah.
So he's like, oh, there's a figure in a cloak. Is
it
you?
He's got a darling little outfit that he's wearing, too. His little trench coat, and
Does he have a hat?
No, he doesn't have a hat, but he's got like sort of like red undertones and stuff. He's very stylish.
Well, he's meeting his ex-wife.
Yeah, he's got to.
And there's a cloaked figure who's like, oh, yes, it's me. Totally, I 100% promise it's me,
you can't see like hands or a face. It's just like a floating jacket, basically.
Yeah.
Like
and she's
Scooby-Doo
like, don't
villain.
get close, because you hurt my feelings that one time. And he's like, oh, I would never. And then somehow, I can't remember how, does she just like unveil herself?
I guess.
She's like a goat lady.
Yeah.
It's not Magda, it's a goat lady.
It's a goat.
Same time, Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch zoom out and they're like, aha, we got you. And they attack him.
Does Scarlet Witch ever use her powers in this?
A couple things fortuitously occur that seems like maybe that's
probability.
Yeah, because this is the time when she's like a probability
mutant
lady. I don't know, whatever.
Mutant?
So they defeat Magneto.
Okay.
And as soon as they have him tied up, what are they called? New men?
Yeah.
Animal people?
New men animal
sneak
people.
Sneak up behind them and zap them and get them like all tied up. And it turns out that High Evolutionary wants all three of them and is kidnapping them.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Wolverine has been watching this entire thing happen and making color commentary periodically. He is in contact with Beast and Xavier. And he's like, okay, well, here's what's going on. I guess I better get in there. And he's like, I'm going to regret this. Yeah. And he jumps in to save Magneto. So he attacks the animal people, kind of beats them away.
They're just animal people, and he's Wolverine.
Magneto gets loose, and they sort of start to go after the animal guys again. But then the animal guys gas everybody and basically take everybody out. Yeah. So everybody's gassed, and they take them back to the High Evolutionary.
You're describing this to me, and I'm like, yeah, a lot happened, but it's such a snooze.
Yeah, it was like watching it was not super fun. Am I making it fun?
Yeah, you are. I'm on the edge of my seat.
Yes. Okay, so then everybody awakens in the High Evolutionary's clutches. They're wrapped in solid jello, and they can't get out. High Evolutionary does his evil villain monologue.
Yes.
And is like, okay, so I created all of these animal people. It's a whole civilization. It's so great and peaceful and wonderful and beautiful. However, I somehow figured out that these two people exist. And if I use Scarlet Witch, because she has this probability thing, it'll increase the likelihood of my experiments succeeding.
That makes sense.
And if I use Quicksilver, everything will be fast, because I guess that's the thing.
Yeah. Speed it up.
And also, now this is where I really get in the weeds.
Okay.
He says, but I really need you, Magneto.
Okay.
Because now here, let me see if I can remember the words. He said something about like the blood of the children is enlivened by the blood of the father.
Yeah.
Like the fact that he is involved will somehow make them stronger.
Something like,
like biologically.
Yeah. I mean, the High Evolutionary's thing is like trying to do biological things to like make these hybrid. So I mean, it kind of gels with.
But it's not like his powers. It's the fact that he's their father.
Right. Yeah. I don't think that makes sense scientifically, but I guess I kind of understood the point, what they were trying to do, the High Evolutionary at that point, but it doesn't really make sense.
Well, okay, so they are all captured. They know his plan now. So he explains the whole thing. I don't know if he's using Wolverine. Does he use their blood on Wolverine?
Yeah, well, Wolverine turns into an animal hybrid.
He throws Wolverine into a tube.
Right.
And he turns into like a part.
Crazy. It's just crazy.
He throws Wolverine into a tube.
Yeah.
And fills it with liquid. And I guess I'm assuming it has to be with their blood, right?
I mean, that's the whole purpose of luring them.
He makes Wolverine into an animal person.
Right.
Wolverine comes out. He's out of control. He's attacking people.
I think Captain America was like a wolf for a while in the comics back in the day. It was a wild time.
What?
It's a whole thing.
I've never heard of this.
Well,
like a literal wolf.
Yeah, he's like a wolf man.
Like a werewolf?
Kind of.
Like, okay.
Yeah, he's like a werewolf.
Captain America.
Yeah.
Steve Rogers.
Steve Rogers.
Is okay.
He becomes like a wolf. Well, I mean, Jubilee was a vampire for like a decade.
Yes, I've sort of come to terms with that.
Okay.
Though. This is brand new.
All right.
Meanwhile, Wolverine's going nuts. The Blackbird arrives. Hooray! They're saved. However, it's only Xavier and Beast.
I know. And I don't understand. Like, is it budget? Are they only allowed to draw certain characters?
I don't know.
I don't get it.
I mean, like, it could be like a let's just try different things and combinations and make it interesting. But, like, they arrive. And like, they're going to solve things. But it's just the two of them.
Yeah.
And Xavier is like, okay, let's go talk to the High Evolutionary, I guess, and let him know that we're not here to fight. But they're like currently being attacked by animal
It's just
people.
he's orchestrated this whole elaborate plan. I don't know. I really do. I would love to know. Like, ring up the Leewalds again and ask him what's going on.
By the time we get to the end of this episode, I don't know why Xavier and Beast are involved
I'm not
at
sure
all.
either.
I feel like they arrive on the Blackbird and then they just chill there.
Yeah.
And get attacked.
They're just drawing names out of a hat at this point.
I don't know. Anyway, so the Blackbird's there, whatever. Magneto, back inside the whatever, Citadel, he calls it. Magneto escapes, and he breaks out the kids, and they escape, and then a fight commences. I didn't write notes on the fight. They just fight. Everybody's fighting. It's just a bunch of people fighting.
Yeah.
And at the end, the High Evolutionary pulls up roots and flies away.
Okay.
And when he does, everything like fades as if he'd never been there, and Wolverine stops being an animal.
Right.
And that's it.
Yes.
Then we have some like overly emotional interactions with Magneto and
I can't change the
twins.
Past. Yeah,
just a lot of like divorced dad nonsense.
Yeah. It's I mean, I guess you have to. You have to have some reason for bringing them together, but it just it doesn't land. It doesn't
I always
feel
like
good.
in the comics, I like it when he is just sort of like cold about it.
Yeah.
You know, like, and they're
Well, that
like, "You're
makes
my dad,"
sense.
and he's like, "I don't
He's like, I guess
care,
technically.
whatever."
Yeah, true.
You know, like he'll use them and stuff, but like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Wolverine does call it the Island of Dr. Moreau, and I want to point out to everyone that Eric and I did a 3 Nice Things about the Island of Dr. Moreau with Marlon Brando, and it was among the worst experiences of my life.
That's true.
You can go and listen to it on YouTube.
There's a lot of crossover
We had
happening
a
in
bad
this
time.
episode.
We had a bad time.
Listen to Nick and Eric have a terrible time watching a freaky movie.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's that. That's the end.
I guess.
The
That is
credits
that.
came on, and it was like, oh, okay, that's the end of that.
You know what this felt like to me? Do you remember, like, in the 80s and 90s, the planted pilot was the thing? Like, you have a successful show. Who's the boss? The Golden Girls. And you have an episode that's largely about other people.
Yeah.
Where you have a few of the characters, and then, like, now this is going to become a show. That's what this felt like to me. They were going to spin off the Scarlet... I don't really think so, but, like...
No, I know, but, like, if it were...
Yeah.
It'd be really bad.
It would
they
be,
didn't,
yeah.
They even barely were in it.
Yeah.
It was just like... I don't even know.
But that's what I mean. It's like that's what it felt like. They were using the framework of the X-Men show to tell like a Quicksilver
like a completely
story, and like that could be okay if it was
guess
done
if
right.
there had been X-Men in the story, and like Beast and Wolverine were both in it, and Xavier.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like, I guess if at the end, if when the Blackbird had come, then like everybody bursts out and deals with the situation.
Right.
I guess I feel like that would maybe like make it a little better, but I don't know.
Yeah, or just like have the X-Men bump into the High Evolutionary first, and then let that roll into this story.
There you go.
You know what I mean? Because now it's just like, if Magneto doesn't call Xavier, everything happens exactly as it did, only the X-Men weren't there.
Yeah, that's true.
There's just no point.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. This is over on This Endorian Life, speaking of crossovers. We are also stuck covering some bad episodes of the era, and it's tough. It's a hard time, so
Yes,
I feel
it's a painful
your
slog.
pain. I feel your pain.
but I'm doing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm not complaining about it.
You showed up. Eric took a sick day.
That's right. That's right. Shame on him.
Yeah. All right. Now, we've probably covered all the episodes about estranged siblings and parents that there are in the whole series.
You'd think, but actually, no.
Oh. Okay.
Next, we have Bloodlines.
Okay.
Bloodlines. Let's talk about the crew. You want to do the crew and the cast for this one?
Oh, sure. Okay, well, as you said, it aired August 28th, 1996, directed by Larry Houston and Fred Miller, written by Len Uly, who also wrote Cold Comfort and the other Nightcrawler episode. So I guess he's the one to go to for Nightcrawler shenanigans. He wrote
he's probably to blame for all of the overly solemn...
Yeah. I guess.
Nightcrawler
he just
dialogue.
has a vibe with Nightcrawler and he goes for it. But he also wrote episodes of X-Men Evolution, Wolverine and the X-Men, and Iron Man Armored Adventures.
Okay, that's crazy because the X-Men Evolution Nightcrawler is 100% different from this.
I know.
That's crazy.
I know. I don't know of a lot of other authors who have written for all of the X-Men series. That's kind of cool that he's
Is that all of them?
Well, it's not like Pride of the X-Men, but it's like kind of the big three.
That's pretty, yeah, you're right. That's cool.
And I loved Armored Adventures. Do you remember Armored Adventures? That's like teenage Tony Stark. It was like a CGI. It was very cool.
Is that the one with that theme song that we love?
Yes.
I love that theme song.
Yes.
How does it go? Tell me. I can't remember. All right, cast, go.
Yes, we have Jennifer Dale back as Mystique. Don Franks as Sabretooth. Speaking of Ewoks, Don Franks voices the Duloc in Ewoks, and he voices Boba Fett in Droids.
Oh, there you go.
And he voices Sabretooth. Sabretooth in this looked like a Hulk Hogan-esque.
Yeah, he looked a little different.
I don't know that I've seen him in civvies like that before, but it was...
Yeah, maybe it was just because he was just
not a great look.
Like
Adrian Howe back as Nightcrawler and John Stalker as Creed.
Great to have Creed back, huh?
I really missed him.
Just a delight.
I really missed him. Yeah, and those Hanna-Barbera-esque guys in their little hoods.
Oh my gosh. Ugh.
Yeah.
All right, so we come in on Newsfeed about anti-mutant sentiment and anti-mutant violence.
Okay.
And what are we going to do about all of this anti-mutant crap? Graydon Creed is testifying before, like, Congress or something.
I guess.
And he's like, I didn't do these things, but they're good. I'm glad they happened.
I guess, yeah.
And then a lady's like, I find you in contempt. And he's like, it's mutual. And
this whole courtroom's out of order.
I don't know. It's weird.
I will say, these later episodes, as you do them, I'm like, I've never seen this. I do remember this one pretty strongly.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know why.
Positively?
I don't... yeah. I thought the whole family element with Rogue and Nightcrawler and Mystique, I thought was really interesting. And seeing that all come together, I was like, whoa!
So, like, this was like a shocker. It was like a I am your father kind of...
Yeah, I didn't know about that stuff before,
okay,
watching the episode
I could see
in
that
1990,
maybe
6.
Interesting. Next scene is a Friends of Humanity meeting where they have their hoods and they're all spooky and weird. They have Creed come back, and he's like, yep, I'm going to come back and be the leader again. And they're like, haha, no. We found out that you're part mutant or whatever. Your dad's a mutant.
Yeah.
And you do everything wrong, and so we're kicking you out. And he's like, no, please. And they tell him that not only is Sabretooth his father, but they found out he has other mutants in his family tree, too. And so, And
that's a bit of a, like, what could it mean? Because he looks at the folder and we don't see it.
Yeah, we don't get to see it.
We don't know. We don't know.
Who knows?
Could be anything.
Then he decides, he's like begging for his life or whatever, and he's like, what if I get all of these mutants in my family tree and bring them to you, and we'll just kill them.
Woo!
We'll just kill them, and then I'll be pure.
Not cool.
He wants to be pure.
I get it. I hear the... Yeah.
Yep. So, anyway, that's what he's going to do. Kids knock on the mansion door because it's Halloween, apparently.
Yeah, we got a little classic Daredevil outfit, some version of Spider-Man. It wasn't a Venom. If it would have been a Venom, that would have been a great through line for my appearances here in this episode.
It wasn't Venom. They trick-or-treat. Jubilee and Wolverine are passing out candy. I don't know if it's a surprise, but Wolverine, not all about it.
He doesn't like Halloween.
Jubilee, for it.
Yes. Wolverine wears a beast mask to scare the kids, which does seem a little not cool.
It's not nice.
How did he get it made is my other question. But
impeccable.
It is. It is.
It could be Beast.
It could. It could be. It's not, but it could be.
Maybe he's a crafter.
Maybe.
Maybe he does crafting.
Maybe. I craft what I want to craft. I'm the best at what I do, and what I do is crafting.
I would love for him to have a secret crafting nook.
That would be great. Yeah. I'm going to get a beer. And then he like looks both ways and opens the door.
Cyclops finds it. Get out of here!
Just like crepe paper and Mod
Don't look at
Podge
me!
everywhere. Yeah.
Nightcrawler shows up.
Yeah.
They're like bringing candy to the door, but it's Nightcrawler, and Jubilee freaked out.
Yeah.
Expecting people in costume.
Right.
Still freaked out by Nightcrawler's
Nightcrawler.
appearance.
Nightcrawler, I always like read and think of Nightcrawler as like this optimistic, fun character.
Yeah,
and
that's
he is
not
just the most dour character.
Yeah, in the animated series, I guess they just like dove for
He's not fun at all.
Yeah.
You know, it was a little nice to reference when Wolverine became a born-again Christian in the Nightcrawler episode.
Yes.
Because it kind of went nowhere, but they were like, oh, this was a really meaningful
Yeah,
experience
they
for
really
Wolverine.
stuck with
So,
the
like,
continuity there.
Yeah, a little touch of it there.
Yeah.
So I did appreciate that.
So Nightcrawler got a letter. I don't know if this is familiar to anybody, but he got a letter that someone has his mother, and he'd better come, or they're gonna, I don't know, kill her, or just do something.
Yeah, I don't know. Let's say kill her. Why
I got
not?
your mother. Whatever.
Yeah.
And he comes to them. Once again, he does not want anyone to come with him.
Yeah.
Just like Magneto.
Yeah.
He came to tell them about it, but also, it's my problem. Don't help me.
Yeah. This whole, like, Mystique being Nightcrawler's mother is relatively new information, like, from in the comics world. Like, that had come out maybe a year before, and they incorporated it pretty quickly, as they tend to do in this series, which is
Yeah, they
cool.
seem to be right up with the comics.
Yeah, I like that.
So he's like, I'm just going to do it myself. And they're like, no, man, you helped us in, was it the monastery?
Yeah.
They like he saved them.
Yeah, he
somehow.
saved them.
Anyway, they're like, we got to help you too, just like that. And so they decide they're going to go with him.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, but I have to look like I'm alone or they'll kill her.
Right.
Classic kidnapping
Yeah.
situation.
Yeah. No cops.
No cops. So they get in probably the Blackbird. I think we
Let's
only
say
see
sure.
the interior of
Yeah.
it. But they're flying along, and Jubilee comes up to Nightcrawler because Nightcrawler had said that it's not his adopted parents, it's his birth mother.
Right.
And so Jubilee's interested in this. She goes up and she's like, I don't know my parents either.
Yes.
So let's talk about that, I
Yeah,
guess.
sure.
Nightcrawler goes full preaching
He does.
out of the
That's
gate.
what I mean. Not fun. Not fun for even a moment.
Immediately. She seems very receptive to it.
Two of my favorite X-Men characters of all time are Nightcrawler and Iceman, and they are handled so poorly in this series.
I don't even remember Iceman.
Yeah, because you wouldn't do that episode.
Well, it's only fair.
I guess. Not to me.
But you're the one that has to...
Yeah, why am I always batting cleanup? I got my own podcast about bad TV shows.
Yeah, I'll come on sometime.
Okay.
So Nightcrawler tells her about, that God helps him to forgive his mother
Cool.
and all this stuff.
Good to know.
She's
Good to
like,
know.
cool, that sounds fun. They arrive at what appears to be a dam.
Okay.
And they don't know who's there or anything. But again, they're sneaking around. Nightcrawler's like, I'm just going to go in by myself. And they're like, no, we're all going in. So they all go in.
Right.
Now listen, I thought, because Wolverine specifically said, okay, Nightcrawler was like, I have to be alone or they'll kill her. Wolverine was like, you'll look alone,
Yeah.
but you won't be alone.
Right. Didn't look alone.
So Jubilee
Yeah.
knocks on the door.
Right.
Is what happens.
Yeah.
Nightcrawler's not even there.
Not the best. Not the best plan.
Just Jubilee. She knocks on the door. She says, trick or treat. So I
Yeah.
guess because she's young, she's like, I'm a kid. And they're like, we don't have any candy here, kid.
Yeah.
And it's the Friends of Humanity.
Yeah.
And she's like, okay, well, I guess it'll have to be Trick.
Yeah.
Ah. And they attack him and
Rumble.
knock him out, whatever.
Rumble.
And then they get into the thing. So Wolverine is like, all right, Jubilee and I are going to, like, I guess look around and like
Yeah.
distract people if they come up or whatever. Nightcrawler and Rogue, you go look for Nightcrawler's mother. They could all be looking for her mother.
And,
whatever.
Sorry,
they split up.
And I'm trying to remember. Nightcrawler does know that Mystique is his
No.
mother. Doesn't he figure that out in the Nightcrawler episode?
No, I think maybe there's like a
Or maybe
shot.
maybe we know.
Yeah, I think we know.
I think
but I don't
think
he
that's it. I
knows.
think the audience sees it. Yeah, okay.
So anyway, they've split up into those two groups. Wolverine and Jubilee see that there's all this kind of like boxes of like weapons and stuff, and they're like, "What's going on?"
Yeah.
They must be up to something bad. We see Rogue and Nightcrawler creeping through a hallway. Nightcrawler's on the ceiling.
Yeah, can he do that? I was watching that, and
I
was
wasn't
like,
surprised to see it, but it doesn't
agile,
super
but can
seem...
he Spider-Man through there?
Yeah,
I feel like no, but...
But they're going along, and then they hear behind a door a woman being like, help me, help me.
I'm your mama.
And he's like, Mother? And she's like, Kurt, I'm here. Rogue is like, I know that voice.
Yeah.
It's Mystique.
Yeah.
They open the door, it's Mystique. And apparently, Mystique has specifically lured Kurt to the Friends of Humanity.
Yes.
Because they captured her or something.
Okay.
And she keeps trying to be like, oh, Rogue, I didn't mean for you to be involved. And like, I don't think she meant for her to be involved, but it's clear that she's not like actually trying to help Rogue in any way. Rogue's like, Mama, what are we doing? And
Mama.
Mystique says, I adopted Rogue when she was young, but like a teenager. I never really understand why she's so like, you're my mother.
It's true.
But anyway, she adopted Rogue.
You know, it's funny, like with all the bad blood, Rogue really sticks to that Mama. She's never like, hello, mother.
No, she always calls,
hello, Mystique. Mama.
Yeah, she does always act like she loves her.
Yeah.
I think it's a Southern thing.
I guess. With apologies to our Southern listeners.
I don't know. Maybe you're just all nice. Anyway.
Then she has some sweet tea.
Sweet tea. Oh, yeah. She adopted Rogue when she was young. But before that, she had 2 children. 2 babies.
Yeah.
Gave birth to 2 babies.
Yeah.
One of them was Kurt. And one of them was, dun, dun, dun.
Who could it be?
Graydon Creed.
That was what was in the file, I bet.
Graydon Creed, and he's up in the...
So she and Sabretooth had a thing.
Apparently.
Interesting.
I could sort of see her going for that.
You feel the
a
vibes?
little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Kind of kinky, you know.
Whoa.
Mystique.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
Anyway, Graydon Creed is up in the whatever control booth or whatever, and he's like, you guys suck, and I want to be pure, and so he's going to kill them. And he starts the gas to kill them, and Nightcrawler bamfs into the control room and like fights with him. And he's like, no, we're brothers. And he's like, don't call me brother. And he's like, ah. So they're fighting.
Like
Nightcrawler doesn't want to fight because he's so religious, I guess.
Yeah.
Doesn't want to.
He's religious.
But then Wolverine and Jubilee break Rogue and Mystique out of the chamber where they're being poisoned.
Yes.
And so they're out, but they're sort of in a courtyardy. They're not like free yet, but they're like out of there.
Yeah, they're getting yard time.
Yeah. Mystique bolts and runs along the top of the dam.
Yes.
She's going to escape. And Nightcrawler is now with... So Nightcrawler must have defeated Creed somehow. I don't remember seeing
Nightcrawler's
this.
bamfing skills in this are all over the place.
They're a little
sometimes he can do it, sometimes he can't.
But anyway, they're going to just leave... But Nightcrawler's like, no, I have to find my mother. And so he's going to go up there. And so he goes up, finds her. She's like, no, I didn't mean to, don't hurt me, blah, blah, blah. And they're on top of the dam. It's very fugitive.
I don't care.
So he's just like, I just want, to understand and all this stuff. And she's like, well, I just didn't want you. And she tells this whole story about like, she was married to like a baron or something, and then she gave birth and he was blue, and everyone's like, she's a mutant. She was gonna like throw him off the waterfall. We never see her actually do it, so it's unclear.
No. I have really clear memories of her like bringing him to a little village and being like, whoop. Maybe that's what we see in the Nightcrawler episode, but I kept waiting for that scene, so I don't know, maybe I'm making that up. I don't know.
But anyway, she doesn't like it because he ruins her setup because she can't be with this rich guy anymore. Right. But that's basically it. And he's like, I forgive you. And she's like, I don't want you to forgive me. And then someone shoots her and she falls off the dam into the water.
This is where he does not bamf and save her.
He looks over and he's like, Mother!
Yeah.
Doesn't bamf. I feel like maybe he can't do the like fall and bamf like he does sometimes. Like you never really see him do that. It's like, I don't know. Maybe that's like not in his
Mystique should have just turned into a bird.
No.
And flown away.
She shouldn't.
No? Okay, because she doesn't have
evolution. She would fall like a rock. She has the same amount of mass.
Okay.
Anyway, I'm not getting into that.
Okay. Not yet, anyway.
So that's all sad. He goes down, Nightcrawler goes down to the river and is like looking for, like, where are you? I can't find you. And thinks she's dead. Rogue is like, come on, we got to get out of here. And he's like, but why did she sacrifice herself for me? Was not clear that was what was happening.
No, he said that and I was like, did she? I don't think that happened at all.
Because I guess maybe the guy shot her instead of him? I don't know. But the guy, I mean, is Creed. He was in a helicopter, and the helicopter went down in an explosion.
Water kind of comes over.
That, like, blew up the dam, and that was the whole thing. So Great and Creed's thing is done for the episode. Then it just sort of ends with them being like, that was weird, and Rogue and Nightcrawler are standing off to the side, and Wolverine's like, I guess they got a lot to think about.
Mm-hmm. And Mystique appears and slinks away.
True.
She looks at them longingly, and they're like, I guess we're siblings now, y'all. And she sneaks away.
The end. Rogue keeps calling him creature, and I think she means it to be affectionate.
Yeah.
I don't know that it's very nice.
Doesn't feel nice.
To call him that when he's been, like, chased by villagers with pitchforks and stuff.
No, but, I wouldn't think so.
Whatever. There's, like, a tag with Creed being... taken by the Friends of Humanity again. Right. And they're like, you failed, you suck. And they dump him out of the airplane. And they dump him with his father. Yeah,
Sabretooth comes out and he's like, oh yeah, brother, you just stepped into...
It's pretty much exactly that. And he's like, oh, it's my son, the mutant hater. And I guess we're to assume that violence
I think it's kind of implied that he kills him.
Do you think?
I mean, he's like, come to Papa.
His own son?
Pops his claws. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess
maybe. It feels like it to me. I will say on the positive, I do feel like this one was better. And I think if I watch this in tandem with like an actual episode, it might have been a little bit more. But watching the two kind of play out similarly, this one kind of wins because it has the X-Men in it, whereas the first one did not.
That is a benefit to this X-Men episode.
So, I appreciate seeing Nightcrawler again. It does actually do some character work, which I don't think the first episode did a drop of character work.
Yeah, that's true.
So, if we were watching this one in isolation, I think I would feel better about it than I do. But all in all, I hate to be a downer, but I know.
Well, this has been the last several episodes have just been like, all right, I guess we watched that.
Yeah.
But we're getting through it.
We are.
The next episodes we're going to talk about, I think we'll maybe pick things up a little bit.
Okay.
Because next time we've got Lotus and Steel and Weapon X Lies and Videotape.
I'm kind of surprised they could get away with that.
That's a reference that no one would get today.
Yeah. Sex, Lies, and Videotapes. Yes, everyone. That's the movie.
Thank you.
In case anybody's wondering. But yeah.
So that'll be coming up next. Eric has promised that he will be here.
Okay.
For that one.
Okay.
So he must have...
I hope so.
High hopes.
I hope so. If people are enjoying listening to me not like a TV show, might I suggest This Centaurian Life, a Star Wars podcast from the Radio Meanwhile Network.
The way that Steve runs down the episodes makes it sound very fun.
He's great. I know.
He's really good at this.
I know.
Anyway, so that's it for us. Thanks for hanging out with me, Nick.
Yes. I did it, and that's what's important.
Yes, you have completed your task.
Okay.
Thank you to Prophetic Music for our theme song. Previously on X-Men is brought to you by the Radio Meanwhile Network. Other shows on the network include...
This Centaurian Life.
90s Music Got Me Like, and...
90210, Here We Go.
That's another Nick one. Follow us on Facebook and be sure to follow the network, the Radio Meanwhile Network.
That's true.
Now, be sure to...
The 80s movie, The Network. If you could follow that.
Follow that.
Big Holly Hunter fans out there, please.
Be sure to follow the network on Facebook, Instagram, and Threads. Yes, we have a Threads account.
I know.
For info on all our shows, please rate, subscribe, and share this show wherever you get your podcast. And see you next time.
Eat Chihuahua.
No, that's...
sorry.